What would you do if you had 100 pears like we do? Well, stay tuned and I'll show you. But first let me take you out back and show you our 2 pear trees.
So here's my pear tree. This is one of them. This is the bigger tree. We've had these trees for about 11 years. I'll get you a little closer inside. There's a cluster right above me. So people keep asking me, what am I going to do with all these pears? So I need roughly 100 pears for what I need to do. Okay, so today we're here and we're going to be making the pear pie filling that I'm going to be canning. So in order to do this, I need to take 20 cups of peeled pears and sliced. So I used to do it using this product here, which was a handheld apple peeler core slicer. We did it for many years. It took a lot of time and a lot of work. The KitchenAid also has an attachment, which many of you may know as the Spiralizer, and it's known now for doing zucchini noodles and different things like that, but it also has a peel core and slicer, and it is all automatic, and I can do the pears much quicker and easier, and I don't have to get my husband to help me. So let me show you, once I get it attached to my machine, how this works. Okay, now the fun part. So here's my pear. You take the bottom part of your pear, let me scoop this a little out of the way. You put it into the skewer. There you go. And then you move your blade over. And now this is the blade to cut it, and this is your peeler down there. And then you just turn it on and let it start doing the work for you. You pull your pear off, which is really juicy. And I'll cut these in half for the pie. And you can see the slices are very thin slices. And that's it. Now I'm going to try to get my 20 cups done. So that's completed. And I will also put links on below so that you can find the peelers, both the manual peeler and the one that goes with the KitchenAid. So in case you're interested in getting those, you can see more details on each of those products. So here's the ingredients that we'll need. We'll need some cinnamon, brown sugar, clear gel, which is not cornstarch, it's specific clear gel, and there'll be a link as well online to get that. I get it through Amazon. Some lemon juice and some apple cider, as well as some water. And the recipe that I use is SB Canning, and it's called the apple pie filling, but you can use it for pear pie. And then instead of using the white sugar, I use the brown sugar, which the directions say that for the caramel apple pie. But we'll be doing caramel pear pie, and it'll tell you how to do that as well. So now over here, I've got my canning bath warming up. This will be the pot that I'll be cooking the pear pie filling in, and then add the pears to that. And then here's some tools that I use when I'm doing the canning, and I have bought this ball canning kit, and it really has helped me through the years. Over here we have a little jar with some distilled vinegar in it so that you can wipe the edges of the jar as you're canning to get all of the excess off of it, so there's no bacteria getting into your food. Okay, so I have my apple juice and my water boiling. We're going to add in all of the sugar and clear gel, cinnamon, nutmeg to the mix. So I'm going to go ahead. Okay, so now we have all of our pears mixed in with our pear pie filling, and tried to stir it up to make sure that it all is mixed in there really good and all the pears are covered with it. We've got our lids and our bands in there being sterilized. We've got all of our stuff set up. I've got my jar that's been warmed and sterilized so it's ready to go. So we start. We fill it up. This is the funnel that goes inside to help us make sure we get it in the jar and not all over everything else. And we start filling it up. I'm hoping to get about 5 or 6 jars. That usually lasts us for the year, so that I could just make a pear pie whenever I feel like making one. What I do is I just put this, you can either do your own pie crust or put it in a frozen crust, and I make it with a crumb topping on top. And just pour this into the pie crust, put your crumb topping on top, cook it in the oven for about 45 minutes, and you have fresh pear pie, which tastes just like an apple pie, but a little bit different flavor from the pears. So we need, they call it a headspace. If you look at this tool, it's got measurements on it, and that's why it's the shape that it is. I don't know where the camera is. I think it's there. So we need to make sure we allow that space, which this one has too much in it, so we'll have to take some out. The highest edge on here into the can, and then the jar, and you can see that it's right about an inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to debubble this. I'm going to push this down, making sure we get all the bubbles out so we don't have any problems with it later. It's kind of thick, so you got to make sure you really get down to the bottom. And now I'll take my little paper towel, dip it in my vinegar, wipe the edge off to make sure we get a good seal. You don't want to not be able to seal it. I also put some vinegar into the water that's canning, and that helps to keep my jars from getting cloudy. And then you use your little magnetic so that you're not getting the touching it with your hand, and you place it on top. Get yourself a ring, place that on top, and then you just finger tighten so it's not too tight, and then you place it inside the canner. Lift it and place it in while we're waiting for the other ones. And that's it. I'll come back when I get them all done. We'll cook them for 25 minutes. Then we'll let them rest in the water for 5 minutes, turning it off, and then I'll pull them out, and then we'll hear the popping of the lids, which means that they've sealed correctly. So I'll bring you back when I get done. Okay, I heard the first one pop. So let's see if we can hear another one pop. Did you hear it? That's it. We'll just wait for the rest of them. I just wanted to show you, this was another project that I did. This one is called Pear Butter, and I'll put the link to the YouTube video along with the recipe if you wanted to try something like this. It made that many jars for me, and we use them during the year. We put them on toast, on English muffins. It's a little thicker than a jam, It's got cinnamon in there, a little bit of orange flavor in there with the pears. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you this one. Okay, so for today we're going to make some carrot cake jam with the pears, which sounds kind of weird, but it works. On this one, instead of spiralizing it and slicing it, we're just going to use the KitchenAid to do the peeling for us, because we want to cut these up in a little bit of chunks. So I just want to show you how the KitchenAid works. Again, I'll put a link so that you can, see how it is and what you need to buy as the attachment for your KitchenAid if you have one. And just like that, set it on 4, and it just goes through and peels the whole thing for me, so I'm not having to stand over the sink and do it myself. There we go. We turn it off, pull it off, and you've got your pear perfectly peeled. So what I do is I just cut off the ends, because I'm not going to use those anyway. Cut off any bad spots, which I don't see, maybe a little one over on the side, and I'll just get that out of there. And that's it. Then here I kind of cut around the core, and then I use this and make my chunks that I want. Because they look a little big, but once they cook, they're going to cook down so they won't be that big to be in the jam. So there's the chunks that I have about that big. And I need to get, recipe calls for 2 cups. I'm going to double the recipe, so I've got to do 4 cups of chunks. And then we'll get back and I'll show you how to finish up the rest of the recipe. Okay, so now we've got, I'm doubling this recipe, so I'm putting 2 cans of crushed pineapple with the pineapple juice in there, not drained. And I'm adding 3 cups of shredded carrots for the doubled recipe, 4 cups of my pears that are all chopped up. I'll be adding a little bit of lemon juice and some of my spices, which are nutmeg, clove, and cinnamon. And I'll get that all mixed up and warmed up in the pot. Okay, we're all done with the carrot cake jam. So you can see the big chunks of pears in there. And all of them popped, so I know they're all securely locked down. There we go. Okay, here's my pears. We might be hearing them pop because they just came out of the canner, and I've heard 2 pop already. But these are just pieces of pears in some simple syrup, light syrup. And you can see the chunks, and the jars are clear because we put that vinegar in the water, in the canning water. And there you go. So let's see for a minute. There you go, you heard it. So I'll wait for the rest of them to pop, and then I'll be ready to put them in our pantry. So here it is. This is what 100 pears makes. We have all of it canned and ready to be stored for up to a year, but it'll never last that long. But anyway, I just thought I'd give you one final view of everything that we did this week. Thanks for joining us, and don't forget, I'll have the links for all the different products that I use to help make this a little bit easier of a job. And I'm thankful that you're watching this. Have a great day.